Hello, podcast listeners. This is Patrick McCormick on the Zen Disc Golf Podcast with your moment of Zen. You can have all of the desire in the world and all of the belief that you can achieve that desire, but if you do not physically practice with persistence, inevitably you either never put it into action or you quit before success occurs. This is episode 4 of the Zen Disc Golf Podcast. Zach.
Well, hello, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing good. Question for you.
What do you got?
How many rounds of disc golf have you played since the last podcast?
Well, considering, I don't think I have.
What?
Yeah, it's only been like 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
Was it 3 days or 15 minutes?
I don't know. Not at this point. I've lost track.
That 15 minutes of time just, it slowed down in your world. So we are just going podcast to podcast, and at the last podcast, I'm going to sound a little bit like this.
Very exhausting.
Yeah, no, but great.
But wonderful. We have had a fantastic day.
We've had a day of just straight podcasting because my boy over here, Zach, he's going away for a little while, and we wanted to have enough podcasts to keep everyone on their toes, keep you entertained, and didn't want anybody to go, where'd the podcast go? It just started up.
We can't let you down.
Well, no. So, we wish Zach a safe journey.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and hope he gets to come back nice and safe and join us for episode 5. But I am Patrick McCormick.
And I am Zach Englehart.
Yeah, episode 4.
So, Pat, we talked about in the first podcast, there's a guy at work giving me a bunch of crap about playing disc golf. And we talked about that, and how it finally backfired on him. He keeps calling me Frolf Lundgren, stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, a friend of mine who's a non-disc golfer, but he's a musical fellow, overheard this.
A musical fellow.
A musical fellow. Likes to create his own music. A bit of an artist, if you will.
Don't know anyone like that.
No, me either. And so he is a non-disc golfer. He hasn't played, expressed interest, but we haven't been able to link up to go out for a round, but it'll happen in due time.
Sure.
He, in my defense, wrote a rap about disc golf and recorded it in a YouTube video, which we have the audio for. Would you like to hear it?
I would love to hear this.
All right. Well,
I don't know how many rap fans we got out here, but I know we have a lot of disc golf fans, so hopefully they'll put if their genre preference aside.
All right. Well, let's check it out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Please call it a frisbee just one more time as you point and laugh at me in this disc of mine. Call me out and say that you're better than me. You may be a pro ball player, but here you're still a rookie. I can throw this disc further than you can shoot a gun. After just one game, you're sure to be on the run. Go home and cry to mommy if you still can. Go and tell her you got beat by a frothing man. I could do trick shots like a John Wayne. If you step up to me, you're gonna feel the pain. I try my best to leave you with enough dignity to go home and wallow in your own self-pity. You ask what disc golf is, here's your answer. It's a game that makes you look like a freaking dancer. I can take your head off with a paper plate. I'm the king of disc golfing, you just a fake. So go home all alone while I'm chilling with my ladies. I'm going all out playing with no safeties. You step up to me again if you dare. You're not on my level and you're never gonna get there.
And like I said, Pat, that was Dustin. He's a buddy of mine, and he He filmed that in defense of disc golf after having never played before.
That's okay. Take your head off with a paper plate.
Yes,
I had to write that one down.
Yes, he always asked me. He said, "So what do you think how does disc golf make you a better person?" I said, "Well," he's like, "How does it make you a better man?" I said, "Well, look, what if we're at a dinner party and somebody comes in guns a-blazing and I just pick up a dinner plate, and I just huck it real hard to take him out."
Oh, so that came from you.
Yes, that's right. And so he heard that, and he took that into his rap and decided that he would find a way to make a plate of weapon in his rap.
Did he say something about John Wayne playing?
Oh, yeah. He said I got more trick shots than John bleeping Wayne. He didn't cuss, but I think you get the gist.
Oh, yeah. I was unaware that John Wayne was a disc golfer.
No, but that
just went up.
That's how we got to remember him.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, John.
Yeah, I'd like to remember him that way.
I was pretty happy. He's a great dude. Dustin's pretty awesome. I look forward to get him out on the course.
Yeah, he looks like it's fun.
Well, here's another thing I've been wanting to talk to you about. I recently got a chair, a little stool to bring with me while I'm playing some disc. And
that's awesome because you haven't had like any furniture in your house.
No,
so now you have more furniture on the disc golf course than in your house.
Yes, exactly. I've got one chair for sitting outside. It is fantastic. Let me tell you what.
Do you just stand in your house or do you just sit on the floor?
I just sit Indian style in the dark.
Oh, okay. You're welcome to come over and rent my couch.
Oh, shit. What's the going rate for a couch sitting?
A podcast?
Oh, easy day.
Podcast code?
I got that. That's just pocket change, brother.
Right on.
So I got myself this little chair because I saw some other folks running around with a chair at the tournaments that I'd played recently, and
you got jealous.
I was like, well, what are
tired?
you sitting down? Both. I was tired. I want to sit down. I'm like, you gonna share? And they're like, no. So I got myself a little chair, and the Innova bags have like these nice little clips or whatever that you can get for their specific chair. Well, I don't have that specific chair. It's just another chair that I happen to acquire, and so I have to carry it around. And I'm on the fence about whether or not that's a blessing or a curse, because I would tell you that on about 7 to 10 of the 18 holes, I had to turn around and walk back down the fairway to pick up my chair because I forgot it.
You forgot your chair.
Yes. And to be totally honest with you, I played the round of 18 and I only sat in the chair one time.
Well, you were playing by yourself, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's the key. Because I think that most people use those chairs in tournaments because they got to wait so long for all 4 or 5 people or however many people are playing to make their throw.
That's true.
But I don't play too many big tournaments or anything, and I really honestly don't play a lot of tournaments in general. But I've never gotten tired enough mid-hole to have to sit down, when I'm playing by myself.
And usually for me, I get pretty tired when they do the break. They do the break, you play your first round, and then you go eat lunch, then you get the itis, and you're all tired.
Okay.
And so you sit down and try to wake up a little bit.
Yeah.
But so far, playing with the chair by myself seems a bit ridiculous, but I am looking forward to using it in a tournament, and it's camouflage, so it's tactical.
Oh, camo is awesome. That's why I wear camo on the course. My bag is a camo bag. I'm a little overboard with the camo.
I love it.
And I'd have camo discs, but I wouldn't be able to find them.
Nope.
That's just how we roll.
Yeah, thank God Realtree hasn't got into disc golf.
So anyways, this past week we asked people on Twitter and Facebook if they had any questions and stuff for us, anything that they wanted us to bring up. So we're going to go into that a little bit. And the first set of questions comes from Facebook. Joseph Bauer says, "Head game!"
Head game.
He yelled it. He put an exclamation point.
Yes.
Well, he didn't put all caps, but he did put an exclamation point. So we always talk about head game.
This is it's the thesis of Zen disc golf is your head game. So
it is.
What for you, Pat, is your most important part of your head game? If there's one step in your mental preparation that you can't skip before you hit the course, what would it be?
Well, I talk about in the book, you have to have a proper attitude. That's your foundation of everything else going on out there. If you go out there with just a bad attitude, you're angry, you're holding on to baggage, you're going to miss shots. So attitude is a foundation. You'd have a weak foundation if you go out there with a poor attitude. But the biggest thing that I think most people have problems with, and they always go to focus. And that is true. That's the biggest problem. But you also have to look a little bit deeper than focus and look at that attitude.
I agree. Well said, Pat.
Focus sits on a foundation of attitude.
Well said.
So head game, we always talk about head game. So subscribe to the podcast, Joseph, and we will nail that head game podcast after podcast.
Bam.
Yeah. So
next person there, Diamond Dave.
Diamond Dave
said tree love.
He said two things.
He actually did. He said tree love, and he also asked about making clutch pressure putts. So Diamond Dave, for making clutch putts, I think for me what it comes down to is I pick a link in the chain, just like I was taught to do when I first started playing, and I take a nice deep breath, and I use my full 30 seconds that are given to me to take my shot. I won't rush the shot. I'll give myself 10, 15, 20 seconds to breathe, feel the wind, and then think and visualize how exactly I want that disc released and where I want my hand to go, because we all know where your hand goes is where the disc goes.
Right.
So
you take your entire 30 seconds, and I'm pretty opposite of that.
Yes, you got that snake bite putt, and you just get up and bang it.
Well, I feel like the longer I stand there, the longer I have a chance to psych myself out. So I basically walk up, do just like you do, pick a little link in the chain. And the length of time that it takes me to visualize the time the disc is leaving my hand to actually hearing the chains crash is the method I use. However, Zach did whoop me. Maybe he needs to convert me to the whole 30 seconds, taking my time.
I had to get him a cushion to sit down on. His butt's a little sore from the whooping.
Yeah.
So the person that we mentioned earlier, Dustin, who wrote the rap that you've just heard a few moments ago.
Oh, that's the same guy, huh?
He wrote a little bit more of a satirical question. He watched the video with the nearly 1,800 views of myself putting in slow motion in Pat's backyard. He asks, can you teach us how to throw really slow like in the video you posted? I haven't mastered my slow mode shot yet. I try, but the disc won't go far when I move my arms that slow. Dustin, if you're listening, the thing I could tell you is that I practice the ancient Japanese art of using a slow motion camera. And that really helps me nail slow motion putts.
It definitely helps.
Yes.
Because if you don't have that momentum, the slow motion camera makes it makes it appear.
I agree.
Is Dustin from around here?
Yes, he sure is. He lives right over by Town Center.
We need to get him on the show.
Well, that won't be a problem. I'll have him come
he doesn't know anything about disc golf?
Nope, nothing at all. Nothing other than what I've talked about, and I just said it's awesome.
But he's made a disc golf rap, and he's absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
So why don't we bring him on the show and grow the sport in front of everyone's ears?
I love it. I'm on board.
So just bring him in.
Absolutely.
Is he that witty in person?
Oh, yeah.
He'll be under a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just taught him how to putt, so.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of pressure too. Here. But anyway, yeah, let's do that. Let's get him on the show sometime and have a third co-host.
I agree.
That'd be fun.
And
maybe we'll go. Here's what we'll do. We'll go throw around.
And bring him back. And
bring him back.
Yes.
And then have him on the show.
Yes.
And ask him how it went. I think that's a good idea.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
And then and we'll just, yeah. That sounds great.
And then with our last one.
That's a challenge, Dustin.
Yeah, we're coming for you. So the last one is Sean Gazinski. Pretty sure I didn't butcher that one for a change. Sean said, advancement of courses and suggestions on linking up with the right people to put new courses in. That is a great question, Sean. As far as courses go, there's a couple of different perspectives for me, but having recently learned about the major lack of youth courses, I think the most important thing we can do is put in courses that accommodate youth players, recreational, intermediate, advanced, and open players or professional, if you prefer to use that term. But as far as linking up with the right people. The best thing I could recommend for you to do is to get on discgolfcoursereview.com. And the courses in your local area will list who the designer of the course was and contact information for that person.
Yeah. Find out how they did it.
Yes. And a lot of it comes down to is property availability, is it public land, private land, so on and so forth, and move on from there. But I say your building block would be Disc Golf Course Review to get a good look to see who's designing courses in your area.
Man, that's good advice. That's how you do it. All right.
All right. So what's new with Zen, Pat? What's going on?
Well, I've been asked a lot recently about sponsoring players, and I have an open mind, and I'm constantly thinking about where I want to take this Zen disc golf thing, because it's growing and it's been amazing, and I'm really blessed with it. I'm open to it, but there's a couple questions that need to be answered first, and those questions are, what criteria would a sponsorship or a sponsored player have to meet? Obviously, they have to be a decent player.
Yes.
Second of all, they have to embody the philosophy of the book. They can't be out there having a poor attitude.
Exactly.
Because I don't need somebody with, throwing the logo discs and all that kind of stuff, hitting themselves in the face with their disc like that guy you said you saw.
Yeah, you can't. Who would be worse to represent you than the guy hitting himself in the face with a disc after a bad putt?
I don't know. Okay, so then the other part is, what should I expect? What should they expect from me?
Yes.
So what kind of sponsorship are we talking about?
Yes.
And the other part is, what should I expect from them? So how would they, in other words, how would they remain sponsored?
Yes.
And so I'm considering a lot of those things, and it's a long-term possibility. Right now, I'm just focused on printing up some hats.
Speaking of hats that you need to get printed, I am patiently waiting. Pat, are you going to get around to that or what?
Yeah. I meant to make the phone call today to talk to the embroiderer.
I see. You're just holding out on me, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been podcasting all day.
Been busy.
We could have brought him up on the phone on a podcast. Yes, I'd like to know how much, but then everybody would know.
Then they would know.
Yeah, and then they just go get them printed themselves.
We can't have that.
No, but hopefully the demand has everybody's come and asked for hats, patches, and bag tags. I know you're a big hat guy.
I would wear the hat to my funeral, Pat. I wear a hat. If I am not in uniform at work, I have a hat on, and I can't explain to you how many times I've inadvertently fallen asleep with a hat on. Sometimes I've even stepped in the shower with it on.
Now, they say that causes hair loss. Is that true?
I'm pretty nice to my hair for the most part, so we'll hope it sticks around. But yeah,
the alternative is I don't wear a hat and I'm balding.
Well,
so maybe I should wear a hat.
Maybe it'll conversely, yeah, it might work.
A Zen disc golf hat.
Yes. It might make your hair calm down, have a positive attitude, and realize it wants to grow.
Success.
Yes. So the patches, I think, is going to be great. Who doesn't like to have, their favorite brand patch on their bag or on, wherever they can put it. Dude,
I came from a punk rock background. Everything I owned had stickers and patches on it.
Yes. And patches are, 101. Now, the bag tags poses an interesting question. For me, anyway.
Okay. Shoot.
You're going to do the bag tags. Now, are they going to be numbered, or are they going to be part of some sort of club? What is your intention with those bag tags?
Well, they've got to be numbered, because as far as I know from the people who have asked for them, they've asked for them to be numbered. Now, how many of them I'm going to do is another story. I guess that just depends on how they sell.
Perhaps maybe you could do some sort of survey and see how many responses you get. Would you be interested? That kind of thing. And yeah. We'll see. See where it goes. But
you know what? A lot of people were asking for towels too.
Yeah. You know what? I second that. I would also could use a new towel. My towel's pretty beat.
But I was thinking a towel. How am I going to get a towel screen printed? But it's not about screen printing. We embroider the towel.
That's correct.
So it'd be probably from the same people who do the hats and the patches.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to look into all that. I'm definitely looking at the first step is the hats, patches, and bag tags. And I actually have a buddy who he has it's part of his hobby actually is he has one of those 3D printers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's actually doing some prototypes for some different things for me. Some of them are bag tags, and he's actually, get this, I haven't even told you about this, tabletop baskets
Really?
that like you could throw a mini in
I like this.
with the logo on it.
You can pencil me in for an order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the schematics or whatever the CAD or whatever they use for the 3D printers.
Right.
And all he's got to do is add the logo onto it, because it's got to have the logo.
Gotta have the logo.
Yeah.
Zen Disc Golf.
Yeah, it's sit on your desk at work, and you got to be, and it reminds you how I am on the course is how I am at work. Right?
No, because I don't like going to work. I like doing this. No, I'm just teasing. All right. So
This is work.
So
This is work. This is serious business.
very important manly business suitcase.
Suitcase.
So if you do get the numbered bag tags, does that lead to a Zen Disc Golf club? How would that work out, Pat?
You know, the first time that's been brought up is today. So you're going to have to help me brainstorm on that. What would a club look like? I mean, would it be a local thing? Would it be a worldwide thing? Because the people listening to this are worldwide.
That's a good question. You know, I think a lot of clubs, they get kind of sucked into a local thing, but I think your book and your brand here have the ability to transcend borders.
Prestige.
And by that I mean prestige worldwide. Black leather gloves.
Worldwide.
I think you'll have the ability if you have people basically, you know, with the numbered bag tags. And let's just say, for instance, 500 of them are bought, and that covers 7 countries, 10 countries, and all 50 states. And you're going to roll into, you know, coming from Virginia Beach, you're going to Arkansas for the weekend or whatever for work. And you hit the course and somebody sees your bag tag and they're like, hey, are you in the Zen Disc Golf Club? And you're like, yeah, absolutely I am. They see that you're number 47, they're number 53. They want to challenge you for your tag.
Okay.
You know,
but do they have to be in a club to do a bag tag challenge?
Well, yeah, you have to have the bag tag to do.
Well, you have to have, but do you have to be called a club member, or what? How does that work?
You know, I don't know if you'd have to be a club member. I guess, you know, there's dues with
Could we
clubs.
just say it's a club?
If
You buy the bag tag, then boom, you join the club.
Yeah, I would say that would be fair.
Yeah,
You know what?
pretty cheap entry.
It's your club. You can do what you want.
I can do what I want.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I would think if it's me, I would make everyone wear black jean jacket vests.
Yeah.
But, you know, just to make it tough.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Or go back to the punk rock days where it was leather jackets with spikes all over them.
Oh, yeah.
And you were required to have a red mohawk.
yes.
That's what I used to have.
Yes. There's no way to better promote mental positivity than red mohawks and studded jackets.
Let's talk about this. I haven't brought this up with you in a while, but tattoos.
Tattoos. What about them? I've got plenty.
I am willing. Yeah, you've got plenty. I've got yours are mostly. You can see most of yours. Mine are mostly hidden, but I do have a fair amount. I am willing to bet that there are people out there considering to get Zen Disc Golf tattoos.
Well, if somebody hasn't, I'm willing to be the first.
Well, what if I'm the first? Can I have a tattoo of my own brand?
Why wouldn't you have a tattoo of your own brand?
Well, I'm definitely considering it.
I like it.
But then if I go get it, then
Everybody's copying you.
yeah. But here's the thing. I'd like to do something if somebody got a tattoo. A Zen Disc Golf tattoo.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. What could we do? I'm not going to pay them, but we could definitely somehow make it worth their while.
Yeah.
Because it's a cool tattoo to begin with.
Bring them on the show. You could give, you know, you have you have giveaways and such that you can work in there.
Yeah.
Sign books.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just brainstorming right now.
Please don't take that verbatim and
you
go
know,
get a neck tattoo of the Zen Disc Golf logo.
if you want to. I
mean, yeah, but yeah. think
your
about
body.
think about a paycheck and benefits.
Yeah. And think success.
Yes.
But hey, if looking at that tattoo every day brings you peace and makes you think about success, then that's pretty cool. I definitely what? That's why I'd get mine.
There you go.
But if I thought about it for a long time because I thought it would make a cool tattoo design, and I know there's somebody else out there who
Oh, absolutely.
lots of people have disc golf tattoos, and man, that I love that thing.
It's pretty righteous.
But it's mine, so that's pretty.
Yes, that's you. That's you right there. And a logo.
I would definitely give them a permanent spot for a photo of their tattoo on our website.
Oh, I could dig that.
I mean, small price to pay for ink and paint, but hey, we will figure something out. We're going to brainstorm this, and if you get a Zen Disc Golf tattoo, you're going to get something.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's awesome.
so anyhow,
Speaking of giveaways, Speaking of giveaways, every podcast except for the last one, because our interview went a little extended, we're giving away signed books, right?
yes, we are, and we have a passage here. Somebody has written a 5-star Amazon review. The key is it is a 5-star. Her title is, I'm sorry, not her. The title is Awesome Book by Mickey. March 13th, 2015. This is a Kindle edition. Mickey wrote, great read. Really gets the mind thinking not only about disc golf, but life in general. Every disc golfer should read this.
And get a Zen disc golf tattoo.
And get a Zen disc golf tattoo.
She wrote that?
Hashtag Girl the Sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a girl. I think I don't know why I thought Mickey was a girl. I don't know.
No, it says Mickey.
I don't know.
My grandmother's name is Mickey.
Could be. Mickey, if you can.
It doesn't matter. If you get if you're listening to this, Mickey, and you wrote that 5-star review, please email me, zendiscgolf@gmail.com, and I'm going to send you a free book.
Boom.
Signed.
Boom.
And if you want Zach to sign, I'll even let him sign it.
I don't know. I think the value would go down at this point, but
Well,
it's worth a try.
we're 4 podcasts deep, buddy.
Ball so hard.
You're pretty much famous now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My fame is dwindling, but you're a rising star.
Oh, goodness. That's funny.
All right, so let's go to Twitter over the past week. Let's see. I asked mixed bag or brand groupie.
Ooh, good question, Pat.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm a mixed bag guy. I am
too.
a mixed bag guy. I've got some Innova. I've got Gateway. I've got Westside, MVP, Discraft, and Dynamic Discs. And I don't think I'm missing anybody. I know I had some Latitude 64 stuff in the past. I don't currently carry any right now. But
Because you gave it all to me.
Yes, I did. You were a big old fan of the Claymore, so I wasn't throwing it. It was brand new, so figure why not share the love.
That was awesome.
So again, I like mixed bags. Obviously, I'm not sponsored, so I'm not locked into carrying anything I don't have to if I don't want to. So
Some people aren't sponsored, and they're still brand groupie.
yes, they are.
West Side only, or Innova only.
You know, I like Westside. I think they got the best disc stamps in disc golf.
Yeah.
I really do. I love them. I think they do a great job. So
Yeah.
if I had to pick a brand to go with, if I'm picking a brand, decisions, it's hard. You're really making it difficult. I'd probably have to
So
say,
you're picking your favorite brand right now?
if I had to pick one, and don't ever, this isn't verbatim, and it would probably be either Westside or Innova.
Okay. What's your favorite Innova disc?
Favorite Innova disc would be my Kite all day long.
Really? You don't hear that very often. You always hear the Rock. You hear the Valkyrie.
Nah.
But the Kite, you're all about the Kite. Huh?
I love the Kite. If
What
it wasn't
what
for
is
the
it
Kite,
about
I
the
wouldn't
Kite?
have an Anheuser throw.
Anheuser. So that's what it is about the Kite.
Yep.
Okay.
It turns over. I can get some hyzer flips out of it. I like the way it goes. And nobody likes their kites saying, oh, you throw them too hard, they turn into a roller. Here's the thing. Don't throw it too hard.
That's like in the medic world. It hurts when I do this. Stop doing that.
Don't do it. And but my favorite disc though overall, without a shadow of a doubt, is my Flex Buzz or even my just Z Plastic Buzz. For me, I can get no better disc for my money. My discs my buzzes are versatile, and I like that.
Yeah, I used to be a huge Buzz fan, and I'm not saying I'm not one now, but I have a few that have kind of surpassed the Buzz in my world. The big one you just mentioned was the Claymore. Yeah. I just started throwing that this year, and the first time I threw it, the glide on it is just beautiful.
They really do sail. And
but the disc I throw the most has got to be my KC Pro AVR.
Oh yeah,
because I come off, I putt with it, up shots. I come off the tee with it. It's everywhere. And there's sometimes I go play just a single disc game, and that's probably the one I'm going to pick.
If I'm playing a single disc game, I'm probably going to throw my Wardens, my Dynamic Disc Wardens. I can do it all with that disc, and I like that. Still getting used to them, but my one disc game, I'm playing with a Warden.
Right on.
I love my AVRs. Got them in XT plastic, but those are for putting and putting only.
All right, so you guys on Twitter, you said
blended like a smoothie. That's
blended
from Walter
like
Parker.
Oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. Walter Parker said blended like a smoothie.
Well said. Minnesota Disc Golf said mixed. I admire loyalty, but there's so many discs to try. Why limit yourself to a brand? Minnesota Disc Golf, I like where your head's at.
I think most people are right there with that.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being a brand groupie too. But I think that Minnesota Disc Golf speaks for a lot of people. Stoopy says mixed bag. Gotta have my destroyers and D1 airs.
Let's see here. We've got Mitch Springer, DGFL, said, too many discs out there. I'm a mixed bag kind of guy. Understand that? And I think the next one, a regular, if you will, on this show, and a regular on our social media, Chris Bowden. Let's see what Chris has to say.
Go with whatever gets the job done. Wait a minute, exclamation point. I like to read things as they're... Go with whatever gets the job done!
Yes.
Unless specific challenge. Like only one brand. Oh, and I like this. I've never played like this, but he says, unless there's one challenge, like only one brand or discs named after animals.
Hashtag disc golf.
That I've never played like a round like that before. Have you ever thought about something doing like that?
No, I haven't. I've never done that. Give us something to try out.
Yeah, that's an interesting round there. Kai Huff Hines, he's also been following for a long time. And let's see. He says, not at all a brand groupie. I carry like 6 Innova, 7 MVP / Axiom, 3 Discraft, and I'm trying a Vibram. Says he's trying it.
That seems to be the standard across the board. Everybody's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I haven't thrown a Vibram.
They're all right. I like them.
Interesting fact, though, for you disc golfers. Vibram actually makes the soles for our firefighter boots.
Very true.
If you look at the bottom of our boots for that we go in our structural firefighting boots,
yeah,
they're Vibrams.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. So I wonder if I could. Is that PDGA approved? Can I throw one of those boots in my bag and chuck it off a tee pad?
It's worth a try. So we've got.
No. I threw a Vibram.
Look, it clearly says. So we've got an individual here meant for leaving at Merman Ross. It said brand groupie for show.
Faux show.
Now I find it hard to believe you're a brand groupie with a name called meant for leaving. You're contradicting yourself. I don't know if I can understand where you're coming from. I would love to know if you get a chance to respond. They're meant for leaving. If you can elaborate on that some more, we can talk more about it.
Jeff Burkhardt says, I'm pretty loyal to Innova, but I have a couple from Latitude 64 and FDs from Discmania because if it works, use it.
Well said.
Oh, we got a lot of these things. Oh, wait. These are duplicates.
Yeah. Nope.
There's a couple more.
So Third Coast Discs said, why not try both? I have one bag that's trilogy only and another that's mixed. Smiley face.
Oh, I don't have that one over here.
Yes.
Oh, no, I do.
See, I read the emoticon.
I lied. You read the emoticon?
Yeah, I sure did. And then you have Cameron Parrish at Looks Like Squints. It said, Innova all the way. Hashtag Destroyer.
That's a pretty popular Innova disc, too.
I have 2.
I'm ashamed to say I haven't thrown one.
I have 2.
You have to let me throw one.
Oh, you can have one. One's brand. They're both brand new.
I don't have to do that.
Sharing's caring. So remember, I hit that lady in the face with the one.
That's what you hit her with?
Yeah. It literally destroyed her.
Isn't that
ironic?
Yes, I really do think.
Yes.
You hit a lady in the face with a destroyer. For those of you who are just tuning in to the Zen Disc Golf Podcast, if you listen to, what was it, episode number 2, we told our worst disc golf stories, and Zach hit a lady in the face with a destroyer.
It was an accident.
He destroyed her.
She lived, probably. Anyway, so we've got Queg at Not Craig Sams. He said, West Side for life.
See, I think it's about 3/4 mixed, and you definitely have those groupies.
It makes me wonder if Queg was not necessarily talking about disc golf, but gang affiliation, and now I'm afraid of him.
You know what? Could be. Suge Knight.
Don't talk about Suge, you stay, man.
Well, Suge Knight just made the podcast.
What's up, Suge?
Do you think he's listening?
Probably not from jail.
Is he in jail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw him on TV the other day.
Yeah, he's having a bad time right now.
Yeah.
We're probably both going to get stabbed for this.
No.
Nah, he's like, nah.
No. That's why you're my bodyguard.
Yes.
Remember? To protect me from Suge Knight. On the disc golf course. Can we talk about something real fast?
I live in constant fear of Suge.
I mean, I'm a huge Dr. Dre fan from back in the day.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Dre.
Can we talk about something real fast?
Sure, what do you want?
What's your biggest phobia?
That's a very good question. It's a toss-up for me, but I'd have to say if I had to pick between heights and spiders, I'm going spiders.
Spiders, huh?
Yeah, I had this nightmare when I was a kid sleeping in the camper that there were spiders in my face, and as it were, I was awake. And when I realized that I was basically having like a lucid dream,
oh yeah,
and they were on my face, and when I woke up, I was very upset, and I've been terrified ever since.
Right on. Okay.
And you?
I have a weird one. My biggest phobia is being shanked. I'm afraid of being in crowds because I'm afraid I'm going to get shanked.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Right in my kidney.
Yeah, you're going to need those.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and the funny thing is that I don't know.
I've heard that if you take several phone books and you duct tape them around your kidney area, that they're impenetrable.
Like when I used to play shows live a lot. Like I had no problem being on stage and performing, but when I was in the audience, I was always constantly like holding onto my kidneys to make sure I didn't get shanked.
You're standing there like an old lady.
Yeah, just like a pregnant old lady, just standing there holding my flanks.
There's meatloaf for dinner.
I don't know why. The only thing I can think of, if you believe in past lives, maybe I was shanked in a past life.
Maybe you were Dimebag.
Why you got to bring Dimebag into this?
Rest in peace, Dimebag.
Yeah.
I love it, Pat. I do.
I'm scared to death to be the Dimebag of disc golf, being shanked.
I mean, I think you're more likely to get beamed in the head with a disc than anything. I mean, that's, your odds of survival are pretty good. That lady lived.
That's why they call it a phobia. So if I were to go back and write my phobia down and then reread my book, Positive Thinking and Getting Rid of Phobias, maybe that'll work.
That might work.
Maybe I'll be able to go back into crowds and not have to guard my kidneys.
You might drop the book, get a real bad paper cut, and it'll cut your kidney.
Or like you're saying, tape the phone books. I'll just take 2 copies of my books.
There you go. Bam. Double up.
Yeah.
Guarded.
Maybe a mini.
Yes.
Yeah.
2 minis. Why not? Nobody's going to know. Just wear an extra shirt.
No. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do our interview now. Zach, unfortunately, couldn't be on the phone call for this interview with Alan Hargreaves. So without further ado, we're going to start that interview. All right, I've got Alan Hargreaves on the show today, and he's on the show with us because he has 20-plus years in working with mental health, and that includes case management as well as foster homes, and he has a real personal connection also with mental health. He's also a Team Trilogy guy, and Alan contacted me a number of weeks ago because he is doing a presentation at a mental health symposium in Maine, and he wanted to use some of the principles from my book, Zen and the Art of Disc Golf, to share with those people at the symposium. Alan, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing just fantastic. It's a little chilly outside, but it looks beautiful. And that's kind of a problem because I'm like, I want to go play, but then I know as soon as I walk outside, it's frigid outside.
Yep.
Alan,
being in Maine, I'm used to that.
I bet. Alan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, like you said, I worked my degrees in psychology. When I got out of college, I started working in the mental health field, and along the way, I'd had my own personal struggles with depression, anxiety, addiction stuff, and eventually I ended up having my own kind of breakdown in 2010 and was hospitalized.
Oh, wow.
And following that, I really was a broken person. I didn't think I was useful for anything at that point in my life. And through some work with some people in a partial hospitalization program, they were saying, no, you've got a lot to offer. Have you ever thought about working in peer support? Working with other people that struggle. And so following that, I ended up there's a track in Maine they have where you get certified as an intentional peer support specialist. And I got a job working on what's called a warm line. So instead of like a crisis hotline, you'd be calling if you were really, really, really desperate. But if you were just, really wanting to sort things out, were confused, whatever, and just needed somebody to talk to, but you couldn't talk to your friends and your family because it might freak them out, you call the warm line.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
And yeah, it was really, really fun. And I was effective at it. I love talking to people. I love, helping people through stuff because I've had people help me through mine, So that job started out at like 10 hours a week. It quickly turned into like 21 hours a week. And within a year, I was working at it full time. And once I shifted to full time, I was on a day shift at this place called the Learning and Recovery Center, where it was like a drop-in center for people to come in just to have a place to hang out, whether or not they had mental health issues, but it was mainly people that were identified consumers of mental health services. We also had 3 respite beds for people that needed a place to go to stabilize because they were freaking out, but they didn't want to be dealing with all of the poking and prodding you get in the hospital.
Okay.
The whole clinical mindset and bad experiences. So they'd come and stay with us. And it was really, while I was working there and kind of growing as a person, my very first round of disc golf ever was like in 2009. And shortly after that, I'd had my own breakdown. So it was during my own recovery and working in this place that I really started to get into disc golf. And I asked my boss, hey, would you mind if I came in on Saturdays and like took a van out with people to go play disc golf at the local course if they wanted to?
Oh, wow.
And he said, yeah, that sounds cool. So we went from there, and a lot of people had a lot of fun. Not all of them have, taken to disc golf as a hobby, but everybody learned something about themselves. Everybody had a lot of fun. Relationships grew. So when I ended up seeing this request for presentations for the Hope Conference, it was just a natural fit for me because I'd had some remarkable experiences with my own kind of mental well-being as it connects to disc golf. The more often I'm playing, the more centered I am, and
That's
when
the
I
truth.
read your book, it just resonated with me. There was so much that you were saying that I'd learned and so many other insights that I wasn't quite there yet. And I was, there it is. So
That's good to hear.
yeah.
So it sounds like what you did was you turned a challenge into an opportunity, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was it was kind of funny because this Hope Conference, it'll be my second year presenting at it. The first year we had it was last year, and I presented on this thing called Maine Can Work, which was designed to get people to go into the workforce if they had been disabled or hadn't been able to work. And I kind of had my own personal connection to that because I wasn't working for a while, and that's part of why I was so dejected and depressed and overwhelmed and whatnot.
So do you think that was because you weren't busy, or what do you mean because you weren't at work?
Well, I was applying for jobs, and it was one of those times where no doors were opening.
Right.
At this time, I know it was because I needed that job because there was a purpose there,
Isn't it funny how the universe works?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So as we were doing this Maine Can Work thing, part of it was a dream building exercise. If you could do anything at all for work, if money wasn't a concern, what would you do? And I just blurted out impulsively, professional disc golfer.
Right
and
on.
Everybody knowingly chuckled because they knew me.
Uh-huh.
Some of them had played with me. They know how much I love the game,
Right.
And so here we are now. It's about 2.5 years later, and I'm literally registered as a pro. Not quite there, I don't think, in my ability level, but decided to make the leap because you are the people you play with. So
Absolutely. And it's so funny that you mentioned that because on our Facebook, I think you and I were trying to help someone understand what I was trying to say in the book about that. Do you remember that?
I need people to stretch me. And it's cool because we have our first tournament on the Maine Players Tour is going to be on April 18th, and there are 10 of us signed up for Pro Masters. And I know like 7 of the other guys, I've played with most of them, and they're all really good. And as I remember when I've played with them, they all beat me, but it was within a few strokes. Like if I'd made a few more putts, I would have been there. So that's the way I'm looking at it. I just need to make those putts.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this gentleman, and he's a follower. He's a good guy. I can tell he's a good guy. But he had a good point. He had a good alternative, saying that every time I play, I give it my best. And I understand that, but when you do play with those other people that either stretch you or if in the opposite direction, help you become more lackadaisical, it does change the way your game is.
Yep, absolutely.
So you chimed right on in there. You're like, I think what Pat's saying here. And I was like, I love it when somebody comes up and just takes care of my work for me.
Well, because I've had my own experience with it. Like along the way, when I started playing more regularly, I met a guy that I played with quite a bit, and he's, you need to play with my buddy Chad. You guys need to play doubles together because he's closer to where you're at. And so I just met this guy Chad, and we played in a doubles tournament. We did okay. We finished in like third, and the other guys that we played with were like a bunch of friends that do this regularly. They just kind of flip discs, choose random partners, and then enter the tournaments. And we ended up kind of becoming part of their group. So that became my mentor group.
Right
We'd
on.
go out with these guys at least once a month, and we were flipping discs, playing doubles. You ended up with whoever you ended up with, and we learned a lot.
Great.
It was just a lot of fun.
And then
so now it's at the point where I need a little more of a mentor group because I want to do singles tournaments. And I did Maine Players Tour last year. None of them do that, so I'm finding my own mentors on the MPT.
Do you still take the gentleman out on the van and introduce him to disc golf?
No, I don't have that job anymore. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that would have been your protege group.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean...
But I have that a lot at my local course.
Great.
There are a lot of people that, like, I'm down there, well, we haven't been able to be there for a while because of the amount of snow.
Right.
That course won't be playable for a little bit.
Right. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about, Alan and I are talking about here, is in my book I mentioned that there's 3 groups of people you should strive to actually have a balance with, and that is your mentor group, your peer group, and your protege group. And your mentor group is playing with people who are better than you in order to help you improve, and just like Alan said, to help you stretch your game. Your peer group is the people pretty much on the same level with you. You like to go out and just have a good time and keep a nice leisurely game. And your protege group is who you share yourself with. And you actually build on your game because we build by teaching others, by helping others. That's when you really realize what you know about the sport or what you know about how to throw that disc. And so that's one of the chapters in the book. So I do have one question, Alan, or one thing I'd like to talk about, and you mentioned it just on our back and forth on Facebook, and that is PTSD. Some people know what that is. Some people may not. But could you explain to my listeners what PTSD is?
Sure. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a reaction to a series of stressors. And this is where people get confused because people first started to hear about PTSD connected to like Vietnam War veterans. Mm-hmm. So people got the idea that you had to be a veteran, you had to have been to war or whatever. But people can have what I'd call normal reactions to really absurd situations in everyday life. Some crazy stuff happens as part of life, and people go through it. Some people go through abuse or growing up in alcoholic homes or whatever it is for them. And later on in life, it's common to have things come up that strike way too close to home. We call them triggers.
Triggers, okay.
And they'll bring up the old stuff, the old emotions, and it can become really hard to deal with. So a lot of what you mentioned in your book has a real good connection to that about, staying present in the moment and being grounded. And those are all tools you learn about as you're learning about recovering from trauma.
Right on. And one of the reasons I wanted you to I wanted to talk about the PTSD a little bit is because, first of all, I've had a lot of people contact me, and it's been surprising because when I wrote my book, I didn't write it, with an audience of expecting, a lot of people who deal with PTSD to be reading it. I wrote it, for disc golf. Actually, I wrote it for myself. They were just started as journal entries. Yeah. But I didn't expect to get so much from people who have PTSD, and they've contacted me and said, your book helped me, deal with this and that. The second reason I wanted to bring it up is because I live in an area that's very military. I live in Virginia Beach, so we have a lot of Navy, Air Force, and actually my co-host is a sailor, and he has his own. I'm not going to tell his stories, but he has his stories with PTSD. And the third reason is because I personally am a firefighter, and in our field of work, PTSD is one of the most underdiagnosed mental health issues that we deal with. Yeah. So what was that sentence you said? Normal situations can...
Normal reactions to absurd situations.
Okay.
Life happens, and some of it really is bizarre. Some of it's abnormal. Some crazy stuff happens, like... well, I don't want to go through all the negative news headlines, but, bad stuff happens. And people have normal reactions to that. And normal reactions are to get freaked out, to have it leave an imprint on your consciousness on whole bunches of levels.
So what would you say to a person, and this is how it is, and I can only speak from my background in my field, people that are almost walk around in denial that, they think it's just part of the job, and they have to deal with it, and they're dealing with it on their own.
Yeah, in my experience, there's only so far you can go with that. I find it useful to be able to check my bearings with people. Because of my own experience where I broke down, I still, to this day, don't fully trust myself. I'm doing much better than I have in a long time, but I got to have people that I can check things against. Bounce them off the wall, see what sticks. And I think everybody needs that, but especially if somebody has experience with trauma, it really is useful to check in with somebody and get your reality bearings.
And would you give any, I don't know if it's a local idea, or would it be a more localized person that these people can contact? Should they feel like they're having those feelings of depression, anxiety, and they think it might be stemming from an area of PTSD? Who can they reach out to?
I would hope that, anywhere you could probably reach out to NAMI, the National Alliance for Mentally Ill. Hopefully, Maine isn't the only state that has a peer support intentional warm line. I know there are some others out there. I'm not sure which states have them. Okay. I know our model is fairly unique because we were getting people calling and asking us about it all the time.
Right. So the National Alliance for Mental Health, they should look that up.
For the mentally ill, it's NAMI, NAMI.org.
Okay. I'm just going to include that in our notes as a contact point. It's really been interesting how many people have contacted me and said, your book really spoke to me. I've had PTSD and this kind of thing. And how do you, let's see.
And NAMI would definitely be able to connect them with whatever the local support networks are, wherever they are. They'd be a good clearinghouse.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about the presentation, a little bit more about your presentation that you're going to be giving in Maine?
Yeah, sure. I'm still developing it, so bear with me.
Okay,
The conference is on promoting well-being through the 8 dimensions of wellness. And actually, I should say the HOPE conference, it stands for Having Opportunities for Personal Empowerment.
Okay.
And they wanted people that are in their own recovery presenting on whatever. And so the 8 dimensions of wellness are emotional, financial, social, spiritual, occupational, physical, intellectual, and environmental.
Oh, wow.
Well, disc golf honestly has connected to all of those for me.
Sure.
Because my emotional well-being's gotten a lot better. Any kind of social issues I've had, disc golf has had me get past. I had times where it was hard to go out and be around people at all. And now, I'll enter a tournament and do that whole thing, or even do a podcast,
Right. Hey, everything I do, whether it was from writing the book or doing the podcast, has been twofold, which is to deliver valuable information to other people. But hey, this helps me also because it helps me speak to people. I realize that I'm a very introverted person, and sometimes you gotta get out there. The first couple times I went and played disc golf, I didn't walk up to the first person on the tee and say, "Hey, let's play a pickup game."
Right.
That took me some time, and then
same here.
So, but hey, that's what's so wonderful about disc golf, and I discovered that is that most people are like that. If you're standing there warming up on the first tee, hey, you want to play? What other sport is there like that? Pickup games just happen that fast.
Yep.
So
yeah, it really is. The disc golf community is so wonderful because it's so open. We're like the common denominator is we all really like chucking this plastic. It feels so good. We have so much fun doing it. And honestly, anything else about you, I'll get to know, and we don't have to. Like, none of it is bad,
Right.
Like given my substance abuse background, at various disc golf courses, you run into people using whatever substances.
Sure.
And it doesn't bother me at this point at all because our whole focus is playing the game. They're doing that while they're doing it, but I'm playing the game too, and I don't care about their brew or whatever,
Right. Right on. So I'm sorry, I might have interrupted you telling me about your presentation.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Intellectual. I mean, your book points out, how intellectual the game gets, as you're envisioning a shot and the power of visualization and positive mindset and everything. So,
Sure.
like all occupational, physical, all of these have improved because of disc golf. So, and environmental. I mean, I'm out in nature, keeping nature, helping to pick up the course, helping people with caring for the course. So really, the presentation, what I want to do is in the beginning of it, I think I'm going to have them watch just a few videos. There's one that I found on Vimeo that a lot of people have seen. It's a really great introduction to disc golf video. It compares it to ball golf. Starts out with Feldberg talking about Tiger Woods. And it's a really, really cool video to introduce people just to the basics of here's this game that we play. And then, maybe a couple of others, and then I want to get right into the presentation about my experience playing disc golf and sharing it with other people, and along the way pointing out the connections to these 8 dimensions of wellness and using like pop-ups of some of your pages that relate to them.
That's great.
Because so many of your quotes relate to them directly. And then in the end, I want to have everybody in a circle with some plastic in their hand throwing at a basket.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what's funny is I don't have... My connection to psychology is basically AP psychology in high school like 20 years ago.
No doubt, yeah.
It's interesting that there's the eight pieces to the Hope Conference, and then there's also if you're into Buddhism or anything like that, the Eightfold Path, which is all.
No, I am. I know. It's kind of funny because to me it hints at the universality of certain spiritual principles.
Sure, and I don't want to get too deep into that. There's a couple of things that I kind of tried to make off limits for the podcast, and that's politics and religion. We kind of just brush into it and then kind of move away.
Yep.
But it is what it is. So, how did you be involved with Trilogy?
That became part of as I fell in love with disc golf. I was playing with that mentor group I had. There were a couple of guys that were throwing some latitude and some dynamic. And I think one guy had one West Side mold. I think it was an Underworld. And I'd try out their plastic, and I was liking it. So I started to, I think the first, what was the first one I got? I think it was a Truth.
Okay.
I think I got a Truth was my first dynamic disc. And previously I'd been throwing a Buzz as a mid-range, and the Truth was just a little bit more stable than the Buzz, so I could get a little through harder on it and have it be nice and straight. And I loved that.
Right.
And then I ended up finding about the Latitude 64 Dynamic Disc Westside fan page on Facebook and joined that. And the amount of information people were sharing about their game and looking for input on, hey, when I throw this disc like this, it's doing this. I want it to do this. What should I be doing differently?
Oh, okay.
Like, it was a mentor group. It was awesome. I learned so much just from taking part in these conversations, asking my own questions. And along the way, I was picking up a little more Trilogy plastic here and there. I ended up getting my own Underworld because I fell in love with it. Beautiful Anheuser disc.
I'll have to check that out. I haven't thrown one of those.
It's nice. It's what, 7, 6, -3, 1, and the 6 don't lie for the glide. It's a really nice disc.
Wow. Okay.
Beautiful hyzer flip disc. Nice delayed turns. Love it.
Cool.
But it was during that time. It was the end of 2013. And they were having the call for, hey, who wants to join Team Trilogy? And the only requirements were that you get a PDGA membership and you agree to throw nothing but Trilogy in your bag. And by that time, I pretty much was. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this.
Huh. So what did they get out of it? For just the fact that you're on the course with throwing nothing but their discs?
What? Well, see, this, honestly, I think this came about as a fan movement. Maury Reynolds and Brad Beamer are some great guys that came up with this Team Trilogy idea. And it was a fan-based movement. We have fallen in love with the Swedish plastic. All three companies get their stuff from the Latitude 64 warehouse. It's wicked consistent. Their climate control is way better than anybody.
Huh.
You could not duplicate this in the United States. You can't. So we've fallen in love with the plastic, and they said, let's start this fan-based movement, just pointing out how epic this plastic is and see where it goes. This would have been a brilliant marketing strategy if it was the companies that came up with it, but they didn't.
It was the people,
It was fanboys that came up with the idea and said, you know what, these companies are great, and we've found that they are very responsive to fan feedback. If you want something slightly more overstable than a warship, my God, within a year you're going to get one.
Nice. Nice.
So that's part of why I signed up. We get as a Team Trilogy member, as long as I'm being a decent guy on the course and I'm not throwing anything other than Trilogy or carrying any other disc manufacturer's bags. I mean, those are the main requirements. I get a little bit of a discount on stuff from the warehouse. It's like 10%. It's not much. Another caveat is that I can't use that as a business-making venture. I'm not going to be...
You can't sell it.
Trying to profit off of plastic I'm getting from them, yeah.
Right.
But it's great because it's made it easier for me to try out new molds that I might not have otherwise because I got a little bit of a break on it.
Right on. And the reason I was asking that is because I get asked at least once a day through some social media venue if I sponsor players, and that's something that I'm brainstorming because I don't really know where Zen Disc Golf is going to go. I've got a product out there, I've got a book, and it's growing because people keep requesting the minis, the stickers,
right?
Patches is a big one, and hats and things like that. So I
basically
didn't...
what you get out of sponsoring somebody, and by the way, Team Trilogy is not a sponsorship. It's kind of an arrangement that they worked out with the companies for the discount. We're not sponsored by... We have members of Team Trilogy that are sponsored players like Johnny McRae and Dave Feldberg and Maury Reynolds, but Brandon Redmond. But we also have a bunch of us that are not sponsored at all. We get this discount that they worked out, but we're not sponsored. So there are different ways of forming teams.
So that's the distinction, and I'm glad you answered that question without me really having
the sponsorship from you could amount just as much as, hey, I'll give you a free T-shirt if you wear it in a tournament.
Right on. It could be that small.
They're representing you, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I always say back is, well, there's a couple things, unanswered questions, and the first one is, well, obviously you got to be a decent player. and then you need to embody the philosophy of the book. Like, I can't be having you out there with a poor attitude.
Yeah, you don't want one of the bag throwers out there.
Yeah. So,
oh, I'm so zen.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then what helps you remain on the team and all that. It's just stuff I'm still brainstorming. So I thought we'd talk about it while I had you on the line. I know the bag tags. I got bag tags that'll be coming out soon. So we'll see exactly how that relates to a team or a club or a group or something like that.
No, and like I said, I want an iron-on patch for my bag.
Oh, they're coming. I'm talking to a local patch and embroidery person. Okay.
No, it's really it's really funny because it was a few months before you ended up coming out with your book. I had said somebody needs to write a book called "Zen and the Art of Disc Golf."
That's funny.
I really did. I'm like, if nobody does it, I'm going to. And you ended up beating me to it. So thank you for that, because you have learned more. So that was great.
No, I started writing this I think about 4 years ago, and yeah.
Well, when it came out, it really has met me where I'm at. It's been a really, really helpful tool for putting things in perspective and getting my bearings and coming up with more of a plan for going forward. You know, it's part of it was why I decided, you know what, okay, I played AM2 last year, and I finished like top half of the pack. I mean, middle of the pack. Yeah, I'm playing Pro Masters this year.
Fantastic.
Talk about moving up. But
yeah.
But I love throwing with those guys. The guys I saw on that list are all going to be they're all guys that, you know, have their heads in the game. They're not going to be negative influences on the course. They're a good mentor group.
Absolutely.
And
it's important.
I've really enjoyed playing with any of the ones I have, and the other ones by reputation. Oh my God, I can't wait to see them throw. You know.
So you're not just searching for that perfect flight out of your hand. You also search for that perfect flight out of somebody else's hand.
Oh, it's contagious.
Yeah, you're like, oh man,
seriously, you can. I've had some of those tournaments where it becomes contagious. Somebody makes a beautiful drive, and everybody else is driving beautifully, or somebody makes that perfect approach, and then, you know, it just unlocks it for everybody else. It opens up possibilities.
Unlocks it. I like how you said that. So one person's you could even expand upon that and say the confidence that person had when they stepped up unlocked everyone else's confidence in their game.
Yeah.
So
no, yeah. I've experienced that because despite trying to maintain a positive mindset, just saying that, trying to maintain a positive mindset, that's difficult to do.
Sure.
To the larger extent, I should be outside of myself, just being there, feeling the shot, thinking the shot, visualizing the shot. If I'm trying to be positive, and to a sense, I'm kind of losing it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So when somebody else ends up going up and executes that difficult to make shot, it just reinforces, yeah, I can make that shot.
Well, that is
knowing I've made that shot.
Yes, that's a very interesting thought, though, because the neurons in your brain have connected somebody else's great throw with your ability to make a great throw. Whereas somebody else who may have a negative mindset before going on the course, they may see somebody else's throw and give up because their neurons are firing in a different way.
Yeah, maybe.
So that's really interesting. So it's all about.
Well, to me, I utilize it as like kind of an opposite principle to the whole thought process of let's avoid that tree means let's hit that tree.
That is so true.
So if I'm seeing that line, it's like, yeah, let's hit that line.
That's so true. I always walk up whenever I walk up on a hole that's very densely wooded. I'll say to myself a couple times, instead of look at all these trees, I'll say look at the gap. Just look at the gap, and it never fails. If I can keep that mindset till the point I let go of that disc, it's usually going to fly the way I want it to. Yep. Now, if I go
and like you were just saying, fly the way you want it to. That visualizing the shot, like okay, that narrow gap. Okay, am I going warship? Am I going judge? Am I going to go Tersus on a hyzer flip?
Sure.
Visualizing exactly how I'm holding my hand, how it's going to come out of my hand. That has really helped.
Sure. And the same thing with your life. If you walk around look at that tree, look at all these trees, look at all these obstacles. or you could walk around saying, look at the gaps. Look at all these opportunities.
Yep.
So that's how I started connecting disc golf into life, business, marriage, all those things. And that's why I started writing that, because it helped me. So Zach's not here, but if he were here, the past 3 episodes, this is actually episode number 4. We wanted Alan to come on for episode number 1, but we had some things come up, unfortunately. Fortunately with us, he stuck with us. So episode number 4. The past 3 episodes, we've done a little thing, Alan, called what we like to call the Ring of Fire. And normally this is what Zach he's the one who takes care of this, and he'll get real in the mic, and he'll be like, "Are you ready for the Ring of Fire, Alan?" And it usually scares the guests, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know." So what the Ring of Fire is we ask you 3 questions that we hadn't initially talked about.
Yep.
And you hopefully are able to answer them to the best of your ability. We really put you on the spot with these. Are you ready? Are you ready for the Ring of Fire?
I am ready.
Awesome. So here's question number 1, or if I'm going to say it like Zach, question number 1. He gets real confrontational with it.
Yeah.
Question number 1. If you could only throw 3 discs for the rest of your life, what driver, mid-range, and putter? Go.
Driver, VIP Northman. I have a sweet pop top. Love that disc.
Nice.
Mid-range, I'd have to go with my Air Warship. It really could be classified as a driver, but it is only a 6-speed, so it's a mid-range.
Okay.
Putter, trusty old Judge. I'll take the Hard Classic if it can only be one of them.
Nice. Nice. Question number 2, Alan. I've got to do it this way just because he's going to get a kick.
Number 2.
Yes, he's going to get a kick out of it when he hears it go live. If you could only play 1 course for the rest of your life, which course would it be?
Oh, God, because there are so many I haven't played that I've heard are so amazing.
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess you can only go with what you know.
I know. Now, okay, well, see, Sabatis has 5 courses. Would I get all 5 courses or one of those?
Sure, this is an imaginary world. You can have what you want. This is the Zen Disc Golf Podcast.
I'd say well, no, because I'm changing the question then. If I'm saying 1 location, you said 1 course. If I'd say 1 location, I'd say Sabatis Disc Golf in Auburn, in Sabatis, Maine, because they have 5 courses.
Wow,
but if
that's
it has
awesome.
to be, yeah, it's actually, I've been told by many, it is really a premier disc golf resort at this point.
I got to get up
becoming
there.
that. We got to have some major PDGA events up there, along with some of the podcasters getting up there. Let's see. Jeez. That is really, really hard because I have only played probably 20 courses in my lifetime. And one of my favorite courses no longer exists. They put in a new one.
Well, if that's your favorite, and this is an imaginary world, we can go back in time. You can play that one forever.
No, actually, I will. I'll stick with my home course. It's wicked tight and technical. It was the first course I ever played. I hated it, and it's now become my home course because it's the closest. Basket Case Links in Edgecombe, Maine.
Right.
The motto of the course is "You don't need balls to play."
You don't need balls to play. That's awesome.
It's a par 60. Pro par can be shot, and the top level pros can shoot in the 40s there. It's a tough course. It'll eat you alive. There are a lot of trees.
Wow.
A lot of long Anheuser shots for a right-hand backhand player.
Okay, and our third question. If you can only listen to 1 musical artist for the rest of your life, who would it be?
Wow.
That's tough. I'm a musician, so I know that's tough.
The Floyd.
Nice. Yep.
I'm 47, so the Floyd.
I'm 33, but I might have to agree with you on that one.
I'll listen to Gilmore forever.
Absolutely. And you could just listen to those albums over and over and over, and they don't get old.
I actually recently watched a rockumentary on the making of The Dark Side of the Moon. It was fantastic.
Nice. Is that the one where they show them in the studio and everything? They got them playing with the controls and yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and Alan Parsons is breaking down, okay, here we did this, here we did this. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, have you seen the Live at Pompeii?
Yes.
That's pretty amazing, too.
Of course.
Well, Alan, thank you so much for being on the show. Hang out for just 1 minute. I'm going to tie up some loose ends, and then we'll talk for a few minutes.
Great. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you. So, as for the Zen Disc Golf Show, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, you can go to www.zendiscgolf.com to find out more about the book, more about different things related to the podcast, the blog, all that kind of stuff. Please subscribe to our podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Zen Disc Golf. Follow us on Twitter at Zen Disc Golf. And follow us on Instagram at Zen Disc Golf. But most importantly, just throw.